I'm going to talk about ABQ, but not necessarily only about ABQ. ABQ Institute stands for AI, blockchain, and quantum computing. So yeah, it's a no-brainer. But the whole idea there is that I think we are witnessing a sort of inflection moment in our evolution even as humanity. And just to recap a bit, I was told that I look older younger than I am. Anyway, so I was born in early 70s, around the time when Intel was presenting their first generation of processors, and every 10 years they succeeded to change the families there, and they were shrinking the geometry. They were basically playing with less and less electrons across junctions, and at some point some guy made a joke and said that at some point we'll be just passing a electron across the junction, and everyone laughed at this moment. And actually, it was not a joke. So these days quantum computing is about taking one electron as a kind of as a particle that carries the information. Obviously it's not that simple, but it misbehaves and carries more information than we ever thought. So that's why I'm saying, like, I'm 50 years old and I witness all this technology revolution, and it's amazing. If you compare now 70s with today, imagine if you compare today with 50 years later from this moment. And if this quantum computing takes off, we won't be resembling the same world we are seeing now. So that's why maybe ABQ is important. The whole picture here, but I'm going to continue with this history, is the moment that we are witnessing, which is this inflection point in our humanity. So yeah, so after hardware they brought in internet, early 90s, you know the whole story. Later in the 2000s they brought mobile phones, so they democratized this sort of technology, in the sense that everyone could afford one device, starting with a PC in the office at home, and then mobile phone in your pocket, and so on and so forth. So hardware, software, connectivity, software, and then we shifted with the web technology from static web pages to dynamic web pages, and now Web3, which is a different kettle of fish, is about decentralized and secure content. So we contributed as humans to all this new story, and we brought in more content with social media, like mid 2000, and then all this sort of hype of social media that brought in content, and at some point someone put, actually, if you look at the trajectory of the hardware, someone took over the Intel position, like NVIDIA, and they basically said, okay, hold on a second, let's put in all this smartness in some servers, in some huge, powerful, hyper computing sort of servers, and they actually looked at all the data we brought on this planet, and they came with this foundational GPT models, and actually that's the moment where actually we see that all the content we contributed with is actually is handed over to some other guys, which is AI. So now we are in the moment that not only we have hardware, software, we have AI, and these guys don't sleep, don't eat, they just produce. So I think we are in the position that we become kind of, how should I say, observers, or witnessing things that we don't even know what they look like in the next 10 years, right? So it will spin around so fast that, it's just hard to predict what the planet will look like in 10 years' time. Now, it's not that dramatic, but, if it's not 10 years, it's 20 years, and things will change. Now, so we basically produce a lot of digital content, a lot of data. AI loves data. AI produces data. AI will start to pollute the planet with data. And then at some point, quantum computing will kick in and will change the gear, and will basically take this whole paradigm that I'm talking about to the next level. And you'll see AI on steroids. You'll see, I don't know, new materials, quantum battery, pharmaceutics, that actually they say that the person who will live 125 years is already born. And that's for the sake of quantum computing that will basically help the pharmaceutical industry to produce the right medicine for you to actually reach that milestone of over 120 years. So imagine, just think of it. If I tell you now, you think it's a joke, right? But what if it's not a joke, and there is a high chance now that it's not a joke anymore? So if I tell you that, I don't know, you were planning to have your pension in 10, 15, 20 years' time, and actually no, it's plus 50 years from now on. What do you do? Tell your wife that you'll be spending 50 more years with her. She'll go crazy. She'll start crying, right? So we are not prepared for this kind of news, and that's what ABQ is actually about. So it's not so much about technology, not about quantum computing, which is going to change the way we, solve problems, how fast we solve problems. It's not about AI that will basically be even more powerful than it is now to actually learn, to suck in data, to produce data. At some point, blockchain will make a lot more sense, because if you look at the blockchain, hey Eric, hey, I think he's the only person who's not speaking Romanian here, no? We have more? Yeah? Okay, sorry. Nice to meet you. Blockchain will probably make a lot more sense in the sense that the amount of data we'll produce will be, as I mentioned previously, it's going to pollute the planet. And in order to actually keep track of things, keep track of history of things and so on, blockchain as an infrastructure will actually start to make a lot more sense. And it's not only about bitcoins, obviously. I think that soon data sort of set size will be, and their sort of sequence of transitions will be so big that actually blockchain will start to make a lot more sense. And so in the end, this is what ABQ is about. It's not only about initials, and it's about, for us, actually, it's about actually looking like 10 years ahead, let's say, from now on. Let's say 10 years ahead. Sounds like huge, but in technology, well, sounds little, but in technology is quite huge. What the world will look like in 10 years' time. So that's what we are trying to achieve with ABQ Institute. Actually, we have 3 pillars there. One is, okay, it's a fact that we have all this technology. It's powerful. It's about us, what we want to do with it. But then it's about, okay, how will we behave if this technology becomes true and will change actually even our lifespan, which is the least of the worries maybe. And going forward, looking into the future, looking at the way things look like in the next 10 years, 20 years time, coming back with the problems from the future and trying to solve them now. So the story that usually what you do to have a successful startup, you actually look at a problem, come with a solution, scale up and you're a unicorn, right? So what if you take these technologies, you look into the future and come back with the problems that these technologies will pose to the society, community, humanity in the end. So, and then not only this, the way we got basically approached by Polytechnic University by the president, Florin Dragan, is that guys, they basically approached Growceanu, and we are a network of entrepreneurs who actually, you know, had a bit of a rough time in their whatever business sort of stories, and he wants guys who actually can tell from their own experience how hard it is to be an entrepreneur, but then that there is hope and there is entrepreneurs that succeed and survive, you know, these rough stories. So that's what ABQ is going to be about. And first things first, we will have a first course in Polytechnic University that will teach students there exactly about what I told you about. It's not only about technologies, but about the impact they will have in X years' time, and with the eye of entrepreneurs who actually went through the kind of the guts and the hardship of producing something and selling something to the real world. So that's going to happen in this autumn, and then we have another plan. If you see, there is an AI or machine learning master's course in Polytechnica. With the help of Polytechnica, we established for the first time a quantum computing master's in starting actually next month. And AQ, what's in the middle, B, the plan is to actually set up a master's for blockchain together with QED. And it's not only about the blockchain infrastructure, but it's about what can you actually build on what products can you build on the blockchain infrastructure. And that's why we plan to actually talk to all universities in the town. There is this ATU. It's the Association of Universities in Timisoara or something like that, and basically looking at what problems different universities look at in their curriculum, and bring, you know, those type of problems, fintech, call it, or bioengineering, into the realm of blockchain ledgers or whatever, you know, is the need there. So yeah, that's the plan, and obviously I hope that we'll keep in touch, and you know, that we deliver what we promise. And again, for our community, I think it's the moment, the way we see communities like the Timisoara one is that, for example, recently, 3 months ago, I think there was a study saying that Romania had the highest density of IT people per 1,000 sort of people population in the world, which is amazing. I hope I'm correct, it's in the world, not in Europe, but even if it's only in Europe, I see that as a brain power. It's almost like a human data center with brains, with processors, and it's important what you run in those processors, right? So it could be any application, correct? It could be garbage, but it could be next technologies with impact for our societies, and try to solve them ahead of others, and then probably you will be more likely to see unicorns in our cities. Yeah, so that's the whole ethos of our institute. So yeah, if you have, I don't know, questions, but otherwise I'm finished.
So how can we, like professionals working in the Web3 space, blockchain, get involved
with the ABQ?
Yes.
So, for example, the first course in this autumn will be targeted to students of Polytechnica, because Polytechnica is paying us to do so. For us, it's a prototype. We test our concept. And the way we want to run it is that we have the lectures, right? The usual sort of 2 or 3 hours lecture per week or that cadence. But then in parallel, the assignments will be almost like a cohort of basically the same students who are in the lectures. We want to organize them as a cohort, almost like an accelerator, and take them from, let's say, a hackathon at the beginning to gather them in teams, take them through mentorship along the courses. At the end, we ask them to produce a pitch and a pitch to investors. So this is the prototype. But then we want to run the same concept for middle management in the local, let's call it IT industry, but it could be even, you know, larger sort of extended industry or anything to do with consultancy and, you know, kind of creative businesses. And we want to do maybe next autumn almost like an executive MBA run by ABQ with the same sort of pattern. We take, let's call them professionals, middle management. We teach them about advanced technologies, the impact they will make, entrepreneurship, you know, how you succeed to actually produce something that is valuable. And in parallel, we run cohorts with the same people. And when you run cohorts with middle management, you know, these guys are already trained. They know what they want to do, and, you know, they have skills. And I think the likelihood that at the end we will have some successful stories like proposals for businesses in front of investors will be quite high. And maybe that's the chance for some people who are comfortable in corporations with their living there to actually switch to something that is independent and the beginning of a startup story.
So ABQ Institute is also like an initiative of Greuceanu?
Yeah, you can call it so. Basically, we rely on the entrepreneurship and kind of the entrepreneurial skills of the Greuceanu network. And yeah, it's basically our product is about producing startups that actually have in their pitch advanced technologies with solving problems from the future. Question?
We are such a startup.
Okay,
And
called?
we came here to this meeting hoping to find people in the technical part that could maybe help us or help us advance a little bit in our quest to develop a platform that
So you need mentorship, or you need what exactly? Both, like
developers and the mentorship. We are already part of an accelerator, but
you're from Timisoara?
from Karaseverin,
Okay.
also from Timisoara, from our partner.
Okay, and you have a startup, you have an idea, and you need developers and mentorship.
Yes.
And what's the domain that does not use developers today, or I don't know?
Everywhere.
No, I mean, what's the sort of?
We have chosen the blockchain nano to work on.
Hmm?
And, although it has a lot of functionality behind it, it does not have too much adoption.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, finding a developer.
So go-to-market sort of strategy and all that. Okay, so you can come to Greuceanu. Ciprian here is the most successful, let's say, storyteller. You don't have to believe everything, but he's fluent in kind of drawing attention and obviously providing good insights and ideas. But anyway, we are a network of guys like that, but he is the most attractive one.
Yes, that's for sure.
Yeah, so we actually have not every Thursday, but if you call us on Thursday morning, we allocate time for people like you to discuss. Yeah,
Indoors Thursday.
Yeah.
Give you the link, sign up, see you next Thursday kind of thing.
Definitely.
Okay. Other questions? Who works here in machine learning, AI? Tangentially? Who has used ChatGPT? You said that you work with blockchain technology. Anyone else apart from the QD guys? That's why you're here, obviously. And quantum, how many people of you know about what quantum is about? Okay, cool. So there is a company in Timisoara. Actually, it's a subsidiary of an Irish company. Pretty much they are the same guys who work for Movidius and Intel. I also work there. And they use the electron as the particle that carries the information. And as Einstein said, the things there are spooky in the sense that these guys actually are at the point that they sort of train the electron to behave in a predictable way. And if they succeed that, and they are actually, I've seen things that make me believe that quantum will be ready in 10 years' time. If they succeed that and they make it scalable, then problem solved. And so there is a joke. Some guys run experiments, and there is the part that Einstein and some other guy, Bohm or what's his name, has proven about the quantum physics, but there is other unexplained, they call it non-science part of the quantum physics, and these guys actually do characterization of the not known part, the non-science, and they see sort of patterns, right? Which basically tells that it's repeatable, and it's controllable, and their joke is we are looking at another Nobel Prize. So, but they can't explain it yet, right? So that's the so things happen. Obviously, there is a lot more companies. Actually, there is a hype now. If you look, the whole industry is in the billions territory of valuation, but that shows that someone believes that that's actually going to happen. And yeah, I think it's going to happen.
I have a question. Where do you see these technologies converge? So I know a little bit of how, for example, AI could be integrated with blockchain, with verified computation, which is also an interesting area of cryptography, but it's like quantum plus blockchain doesn't really well, or like do you see interesting?
So things are, how should I say, transversal. Quantum is about hardware. So it's as if you're asking me, where do you see my software run, on a PC, on a laptop, or on that's the basic question. So quantum is only about having a piece of hardware capable to solve algorithms that have not been solved before, in the sense that they were using heuristics and whatever kind of non-optimal algorithms to come with a non-optimal solution within a allocated time frame, right? Whereas quantum is about actually giving you the optimum solution within a predictable amount of time. Obviously, not all all algorithms on the planet will be solved by quantum, but many of them will actually see the optimum solution, and they call verticals like pharmaceutical industry, new technologies. They talk about quantum battery that will basically charge and never discharge, or stuff, kind of crazy stuff. Logistics, banking, anything to do with a lot of data. So where there's a banking, which is a lot of data transactions, and you need a sort of a ledger of what happened there. I see blockchain, as the transversal infrastructure to hold all this sequence of information in a kind of order or manner. While AI, is yet another dimension, if I call it so. So there is sort of a you know, every two sort of technologies will make sense together, I'd say, at least.
So maybe to take it a bit more practical, and I have a question after that. So you're seeing quantum as a way to basically solve the hashing function in no time, making basically blockchain transaction instantaneously?
That's the most, everyone is afraid of cryptography, and yeah. But
it also has a plus, right? You can do a transaction instantaneously.
yeah,
It breaks the whole blockchain.
basically, yeah,
My question in this line is, at your courses or in your philosophy or in your teaching part, how deep do you go? Like, do you give practical examples, or do you teach people about this whole concept, the idea?
in our lecture?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, our audience will not be quantum scientists, will not be blockchain QED guys, will not be machine learning specialists. We basically want to take kind of people who want to do businesses, startups, who don't necessarily sort of have all the grasp of these technologies, but they know what they are useful to, and they think in a product, let's say, mindset. And the whole idea, as I mentioned, we want to look ahead 10 years ahead. We want to imagine what the planet will look like, what sort of problems they will face, come back with those, obviously sort of triaged and kind of structured, and tell business people that, you know, if we use a bit of blockchain and AI, and God help us, will have quantum computing, it's very likely that actually you solve this problem. So then you start building the story, the whole business proposition and so on, so that you make sort of a progress until the moment that all these technologies will actually become real. Now, investors, for example, who invest in quantum computing, you can call them now sort of lunatics or kind of crazy people, but they actually put billions there. So something is happening there, right? So likewise, if someone goes to the future, comes back with a story, says, in 10 years' time, if I told you that you live 120 years sort of lifespan, you know, how will you behave? Will you be happy? Will you not be happy? Will you fight? Will you do whatever? You know, I don't know right now to tell you exactly, you know, what the future will look like, but we want to have people looking at that, like people from ethics, from sociology, or what's the term, from social sort of sciences, politics and so on, and come back and tell us, okay, we need a solution for this problem. And then we have to build towards the moment when all these technologies will become possible, and then it's almost like you have a product. So that's in a few words, the approach.
That's totally new for Polytechnica, because
It's new for us as well.
to see the big picture first, and then, okay, technically how we do it.
That's the challenge. I don't think many people on planet.
I mean, in our generation we didn't do that.
I don't think many people on planet actually look at this, you know, problem yet. I'm not saying we are the best, but I think obviously we're not the best, but I'm saying that if we have the chance to look ahead of other people, you know, there is a likelihood that we are in a better position than others who start late.
How do you see zero-knowledge technology integrated in this entire future?
You have to tell me what zero. Well,
technically, you can prove something happened without disclosing information.
okay.
And there are even blockchain that started working out by integrating this technology, such as DK Sync, Stuxnet, and others. I was wondering if this somehow creeped up in your research, in your brainstorming.
No, to be honest, no. But yeah, we need some people like, you know, you and kind of experts in blockchain to actually go one step further, explain what the sort of a range of problems we can solve with the blockchain technology, and then we try to find the intersection between all these technologies and problems that can be solved with that. But no, we haven't gone that deep. We haven't even looked at quantum algorithms, for example, and it's in the same range, like, you know. But yeah, so we are early days, but again, I think we have to find a mix of, and that's another story. Usually in universities and research, you find people who are very good in their domain. I don't know, as I mentioned, like bioengineering, something very, very niche, right? And it's important to recognize that the mindset of that person who understands very well, I don't know, playing with molecules in your DNA to fix something in your body, right? So knows that very well, but he or she is at the moment sort of isolated because does all this sort of science in isolation, like, you know, like fundamental science. It will never happen anytime soon. So imagine if that actually will happen in our lifetime. Then you have to take that research guy, and he's almost like a CTO for your future startup, and put a business guy next to him, to the interface, the human interface to, you know, VCs. And basically the business guy has to understand what this guy is doing, you know, what's the whatever impact, you know, what he's solving and so on, and translating that to VCs, to investors, and obviously kind of gathering more people around. You know, one has to be a marketing guy, one has to be a whatever infrastructure developer guy, and, you know, being able to actually build a team around this guy who so far was isolated because nobody believed that he would ever see anything useful out of his research, all of a sudden becomes, you know, a CTO, a very important guy. And I have to tell you one example. The guy we run now the quantum computing masters with, you might heard of him, Mihai Udrescu. 15 years ago, he was doing his PhD in error correction for quantum gates or quantum sort of circuits, right? And we were saying, oh, Jesus, this guy is just wasting everyone's time here, just talking to us. And now, these days, like, he is actually the most important guy in town because he is able actually to connect things in the quantum computing sort of a domain. So you see, things change. Like, you know, he was almost like a guy wasting everyone's time because he was doing something crazy, the PhD on something crazy, and now he's actually the sort of a catalyst for a quantum computing course that actually some companies like the guys I mentioned from Ireland with a lot of VCs backed by VCs actually regard him as a, you know, esteemed sort of researcher who is able to actually articulate quantum computing masters in Timisoara. So you see, things sort of slowly change. So again, I think it's important to have guys, to identify smart guys doing deep research in certain areas, because those areas are very likely that with these new technologies will become possible.
Because you mentioned an entrepreneur, you know, who should never have been an entrepreneur. I have to mention another. A guy who also did his PhD in quantum computing, quantum physics, blah, blah, blah. And this will be a shameless plug for a startup that I and a few other crazy people invested in. Then created a puzzle game which teaches you, if you're fairly smart 10-year-old, 12-year-old plus, you know, up to 99, I think it works, quantum computing, basically. So it's just a game. You don't code anything, you just learn. It's called Quantum Odyssey, and it's already on Google Play and Apple whatever, and it's launching on Steam soon. It's been a very long, really tough journey as an entrepreneur, but another really cool example.
Yeah,
Quantum Odyssey. Learn quantum computing the easy way.
could be now, you know, the number one game in certain
It
sort
is
of.
at the moment the flagship educational tool for quantum computing in Europe already.
And to be honest with you, I laughed at your investment like 3 or 4 years ago. I thought you drank something or.
No. Well, you might still be laughing in a year or two.
But then.
When it completely fails, we never know.
But anyway, yeah.
It's been dragging its feet financially, but really these guys are so passionate. They've been building something, and it turned out beautiful.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think we can.
now you can start the 20 minutes of applause. Thank you.